Alright, hey guys, welcome back. This video is long overdue, but the last video I made we were talking about DCF modeling, and in this video I'd like to go over essentially how that's affected my personal portfolio and basically how I've been paper trading, using TradingView's paper trading system, and how I turned $100,000 into about 25 billion, as you can see in the number here. So what I'm going to do is go trade by trade and basically talk about how I did them, the geopolitical stance on those trades, and how those affected those trades, essentially conflict trades and how those affected certain portfolios and how military stocks were affected by those. We're going to talk about earnings, we're going to talk about SEC filings and consulting firm publications. We're also going to be talking about currency trades such as FX and cryptocurrencies, mathematical trading such as mean reversal strategies, and event-based trading. We're going to be talking about swing trading and order book trading as well. We're going to be talking about bonds, futures, and commodities, and future plans at the end of the video. But here, I'll get started with the first trade. So basically I exported all of the trades from TradingView into a CSV. Then I used Python to extract the information from each trade and basically analyze the profit and loss for each one. Now in this particular script, I'm just iterating over what TradingView exported. Now as you can see with trade number one, I'll just put this on half of the screen to make it easy. You start with 100,000. And this particular trade, I was going long on the US dollar because I can't remember, to be honest. I don't know why I was going long on the US dollar. But now, if I go long on the US dollar, it's against something else. Like right now, I'm long on the US dollar against the Canadian dollar because the Canadian dollar is at this lowest point in history. Well, not as in history, I'd say in the last 10 years. And the US dollar is bullish against it. So instead of just being long on the index itself, I'd rather be long and hedged against an underlying asset. So that's what you see here. On the second trade, I have about 630 trades to go through. Most of them are commissions, so I just skipped over them using this script here. I'll take that through iterate trades. Essentially, in this commission part, I just skipped all of those. So the only trades we'll be going through are the ones that have a realized profit and loss. Now trade number two, this is me trading volatility. I have a habit of trading volatility when it drops below 15. I just go long because I don't really see a loss there. The S&P 500 is tanking recently. If I were to go into SPY, right, as of right now, the S&P 500, it's at 575 and it was at 608 about 2 weeks ago. So it's down, I would say, about 5%. I wouldn't say 5%. Well, let's go over the month. Well, it's not stating explicitly what percentage it's down, but I would say it's about down 5%. And I've been short selling since 608. So every time the S&P 500 tanks, I go to volatility and I buy volatility. And as you can tell, that's what I do with these trades here and here. So trade number two, I made a loss of $499. But trade number three, I also made a loss. This was a short position against Bitcoin when the price was at, oh wow, Bitcoin was at 30K at the time. I was short against it because I thought it would go back down to 12K, but I was incorrect and it went bullish up to 106,000. Now, over these next few trades, you see quite a few losses because this is when I started trading. This was back, as you can see, 2023. I think this is August 26th or July 26th. But this was a short position against Netflix because of their earnings, and that's based off of this script here. Now what I do is I download and parse their quarterly earnings reports and their total liabilities, their total assets, total cash and cash equivalents, and basically calculate their quarterly balance sheet, their quarterly income statement, and their quarterly cash flow. I create an outlook of what the company is going to look like over 3 to 6 months based off of this information, and then I make a trade. Netflix was not doing very good at the time. No, it was actually at doing pretty good, but its price was at 422, and I didn't think it had. I didn't have a bullish stance on it, so I went short, and I'm pretty sure I made a loss on this trade. I don't know why I was. I don't know this particular trade exactly. Boston properties, I've been short real estate for the past 3 years. Commercial real estate, you're going to see a lot of those trades pop up because essentially people, small businesses are closing, and the businesses that are closing aren't re-renting out those offices to new businesses because no one's opening new businesses, which is causing this loss on these commercial lending portfolios. And those losses are starting to be realized this year over the next 3 years, which is why I'm short on those particular stocks. Because on the balance sheet, you're starting to see a lot of debt because they need debt to finance operations, but they can't pay back the debt because there's no tenant. So you're starting to see the debt accumulate, and the interest rates are getting hiked over the few years, which is not necessarily a positive thing for the stocks, which is why in multiple stocks related to Alexandria real estate properties or Boston properties, and why I'm short on those particular stocks. Now, on this one, I closed a short position on Ethereum, again from my earlier stance. Now, I'm going to get to more of the larger trades. These trades here, I wasn't taking much risk. As you can see, I just lost or made $700. Here, I lost $100. But let's go into the bigger trades. So for this particular trade, it's Uniswap, and I was short the exchange token because when a crypto market bulls or goes bearish, people trade less. And that means the underlying exchanges in which are trading these cryptocurrencies are going to see less activity. I'm going to short a particular cryptocurrency upon that information, and which is why you see my short position here against the Uniswap. I did make a loss, as you can tell, on the first trade. The second trade, I made a profit of $100. And then trade 14, another volatility trade, I made a profit of 1,000. So now I'm going to go into the larger trades. So this one, I don't remember exactly the crypto trade here, but I lost about $3,800. And that was because I was shorting it against the US dollar. I don't know why, but as you can tell, it's the price on the cryptocurrency is very low. I shouldn't have been shorting a volatile cryptocurrency like that, and I got burned. Now the trade right after that is Amazon, and you can see I closed a long position on Amazon for a profit of $7,981.25. And the reason why I was long on Amazon on that date is because it's one of their earnings dates, and I looked at their financial stock price using the script I mentioned earlier, and I basically went long on the information that they're doing pretty well quarterly, and as you can see, that trade panned out very well. Now, if I go on to the next trades, you see FTT. I was short the FTT token because Sam Bankman-Fried, he got arrested in the United States upon the crypto fraud exchange. I actually had cryptocurrency on that exchange when it went down, and I still get emails from the lawyers basically telling me to claim my losses or whatever, but it wasn't that much, so I don't really care. However, upon hearing that information, I went short on the cryptocurrency, and I made quite a bit of gain. As you can see here, I made $1,630. Going on to the next trade, I'm closing a short position against XRP. At the time, they were facing a lawsuit against the United States jurisdiction because I can't remember what it was, but that kind of information, if you're going to go against the United States government, I'm going to go short against your particular stock because the legal headwinds you're going to face is going to cost a lot, the PR and whatnot. I was short and I made a profit of $479. Now, the trade right after that you can see a substantial loss of $20,000, 454. And the reason why I lost so much money is because I took a leveraged margin position against a cryptocurrency called Unibot. This particular cryptocurrency, I had no idea why people were so bullish on it, and I went short. Now, I went short too early, and as you can see, I lost 20,000 because of it. Now, if you see these next few trades on the exact same cryptocurrency on a different exchange, I made $34,351, and that was because this is why trade timing is important. If I had timed the trade just one day later, I would have made 50,000, but instead I made 10,000 because I made a loss of 20,000 and then a gain of 34. So at this point, you can see that my account is now at 118,000 when you start with 100,000. So even though I've made substantial losses and gains, I'm basically right back at where I started. Now, over the next few trades, these are cryptocurrencies. I'm basically short the crypto market at this point, and I'm making a few gains: 24,000, 50,000, 5,000, 76,000 against the same cryptocurrency. Now the account is at $275,647. I'm short an airline. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is an airline because airline stocks don't do very well, and I just felt that that was a good position to have at the time. That's the same crypto trades, and as you can see, basically, when I see an opportunity, I continuously take it. This is the exact same cryptocurrency over the exact same exchange, and over each trade, I go larger. So the first realized profit or loss was 56,000. The second one was 121,000, and the third one was 138,000. Because when you see a market opportunity, you don't just take it and then stop. You continuously go after it. And you can see the balance of my account continuously go up, starting at 332,000, ending at 592,000. So if you continuously go, now there's some losses. I lost about 118,000 on another cryptocurrency, lost about 39,000, made 100,000. Now you can see that my trades are within the $100,000 range, and the account is starting to go from 400,000 to the early seven-figure range. And as you can see here, there's this cryptocurrency on the Coinbase exchange called Prime USD, and I was short against it. And this is by far at the time the largest single trade gain in which I have. And it's a realized profit and loss of $605,000. Now, this brings the account balance to 1,036,000. The first time the account actually hits a million. Now, I start playing with more margin at this point, just more cryptocurrencies, similar strategies against the cryptocurrencies. As you can tell, I make most of my money on short positions because I just like to bet against other people. I'm like essentially when I see market movement and see orders, I just hop on that opportunity, and it works out very well. So more short positions, as you can see. So let's get into more crypto. Okay. So here you actually see a different trade. This one was a long position against the Mexican dollar. Now the reason why I was long on the Mexican dollar is because the new female president had been elected in Mexico, and they just opened their borders to new trade, and you started seeing trade shift from the east down to the supply chains in Mexico. And due to the NAFTA agreement with Canada and the United States, you started seeing products being produced cheaper in Mexico than you can get overseas. That stabilized the Mexican currency, and for me, I saw that as a bullish stance on the Mexican dollar. You see here that I made 23,300 on that particular trade. Now, I would have liked to make more money on that trade, but I didn't want to go over leveraged on it, so I just put enough currency to essentially, just take advantage of some profit there. But as you can see here, there's more crypto trades and where I'm farming. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, This is where I I start understanding trading. And it's funny that it's trade number 69. That is the first trade where I make quite a bit of money. The balance before is 4,134. The balance after is 27,328. Now the reason why I took so much risk on this particular trade was because I knew it was a sure bet. There is no way that traders are going to pay more for this particular currency in the future than they're paying now. So I went completely balls deep on this particular trade, and as you can see, it paid off very well. Now I'm starting to work into larger leagues at this point. If I move on to these other trades, now you're starting to see larger amounts being played with. I'm starting to make $2 million, starting to lose $1.5 million, starting to make $4 million, and then it goes on and on. Now let's go down to a more interesting trade that's not a cryptocurrency. I started to lose money on the S&P 500. I was short too early. As you can see, this is the beginning of 2020-24 around these trades here. And I was short the S&P 500 around that time. But over 2020-24, as everybody knows, the S&P 500 reached all-time highs. So I was short 1 year early. Now, this year, things are going to look a little different. Rumors are that the S&P 500 is going to tank this year. I was talking to a portfolio manager about 1 year ago, actually at a bar, and we were discussing the market, and he was telling me that we were talking about interest rates, and basically, when interest rates get cut in Canada, the currency is going to tank. And that's exactly what happened. The currency tanked to about 68 cents on the dollar, and people got laid off. Right now, among our age group, I'm about 21 years old, there's an unemployment rate about 10%, right? That's on par with some Eastern Asian countries. And that's a statistic that isn't published. And people think that the rate is actually worse if you include people who aren't looking for a job but are unemployed, right? That statistic is even worse. So I mean, trades like these, they're profitable, but you're literally betting against the good of society. But personally, I don't take a moral stance against these trades. I just see a profit to be made, and I just make that profit. Now moving on to the trade number, I think this is trade number 100. We're closing short positions against Ethereum, and you see hundreds of thousands of dollars. Short positions against Bitcoin, about 10 million. Okay, now we're getting the big numbers. I remember these trades. So this was last year, July. I was closing a long position against the S&P 500, and this is when I finally reached about $100 million in the account. The balance before was about 41,800,000, and the balance after is 127 million. The realized profit on that trade was $85 million, and the reason why I was long on the S&P 500 is because they had just cut interest rates. Cutting interest rates is good for companies because now they can borrow debt at a cheaper rate. Companies like Carvana literally operate on debt. So I was basically long on the whole factor of the market, and it paid off very well. Now, I lost a lot of money on a Tesla long position because I traded their earnings, right? And essentially, I thought that I was bullish on their earnings because the script actually that you see here, I went over their balance sheets and everything was good, right? But I forget that Tesla isn't traded like a car company. Tesla is traded like a software company. So their earnings are a little different than other car manufacturers in the industry. And yeah, I failed to account that in my trade, and I lost $100 million on that trade, bringing me down to 26 million. So that was definitely a pretty big loss on the balance sheet. Now, over these next trades, it's not going to really make sense, but technically my account goes into the negative, because I keep on making losses on Tesla. So I lost another $49 million on Tesla, bringing my account to negative 23 million. Now, the reason why I was able to continue trading is because I had other positions that were keeping my balance afloat. So as you can see here, I just sell my other position, a long position on Tesla, because I was hedged. I hedged my position, which brings my account right back to $58 million because the realized profit and loss was 81 million. And that's why it's important to hedge your trades, right? Go long and short at the same time using different assets to make sure that in case the market doesn't move in your favor, you don't really make a loss. And that's what I did here. And as you can see, hedging your trades pays off very well. Now, if I go on to the next trade, this is a long position at Google stock. And the reason I was long is because, again, trading their earnings. And I failed to account for certain factors. Essentially, their earnings were good, but they didn't exceptionally beat the market. They just beat the market a little, and that didn't please investors, so the market tanked for at least Google. And I lost $11 million on that trade, bringing the balance to $46 million. Now, on the next trade, another crypto short position, $25 million gain, bringing the balance back up. Now, this is where I start trading volatility. This is July 29th, 2024. I'm closing a short position against the VIX for a pretty large number, as you can see there, and the realized profit and loss on that trade was negative 45 million, bringing my account down to 26 million. And I didn't understand how to trade volatility at the time, so I kept on making losses on particular trades that would essentially wipe out my account. And as you can see, over this next period of time, that brings my numbers. I start to learn how to trade volatility. And now we're at trade 200. So let's go up. As you can see, I close a long position for the VIX. I start changing my strategy, and it brings my account back up with a realized profit and loss of $44 million. Now remember that none of this money is real. This is all paper trading. This is all theoretical. I do calculate the commissions, and I do calculate taxes. So at the end of the video, I'll show you basically what the real life cost would be to trade like this. But essentially, this goes to show that basically balancing your portfolio mathematically can really help manage the stocks in which you're trading. And I'll continuously go over that over the next few trades. And now you can see me closing a short position against PayPal. I don't know why I was short their stock, but I made money on that trade, as you can see here. Volatility, I lost some money here. I was short AMD because Nvidia had put out a new graphics card, and AMD was going to sell less graphics cards because of that, and I went short AMD stock because of it. And as you can tell, I made $3.8 million on that trade. Now here comes my controversial trades. This is where I'm talking like military trades. As you can see here, this is July 31st, 2024, and this is Lockheed Martin stock, and I made a profit and loss of $5.6 million on this trade. And the reason for this trade is because on a Friday afternoon, I saw a video of paragliders flying into Israel, and this was Hamas. And upon seeing that, I thought to myself, Israel's going to go to war with Hamas. On Monday morning, 9:30 a.m., I'm long on every single major defense company with operations in Israel. That includes Palantir, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Raytheon Technologies, Anduril, you name it, Elbit Systems. I was long on every single company that had operations in the area. And as you can see, by the end of the week, I made a profit of 26% over that entire basket of stocks. Now, over the next few years, over the last year, you can see how that conflict has played out, and it hasn't been very good for Hamas or Hezbollah or any other proxy groups in the region. But you can see how it's affected the stock prices, how they've cooled off in the last few while because the conflicts have died down in the region. And you can see that in these positions here. I'm basically trading gold. I'm long on gold and short against currencies because the instability in the region. And I made a loss on that particular position. But if you look at the commissions in other positions, you can see that I went long again on gold. Now, ARM, these are chip manufacturers. I went short on their stock, but I was incorrect to do so because essentially chip manufacturing is a really big industry, especially right now. Companies are trying to bring that to the United States and right back to the West. They're investing tons of money to do so. I was actually speaking to an investor out of the United States. He's looking to invest about $500 million through certain special purpose entities to build out these data centers. And this is going to be in Pennsylvania and Michigan and related areas. It's going to be really cool. But yeah, I shouldn't have been short that particular stock. Now, on this next trade is another cryptocurrency trade. A lot of profit there. Now you start to see me make money on volatility trades. I start to lose money on volatility trades. Essentially, I was closed a short position against McDonald's because of their earnings, and I was wrong. I lost $37 million on that trade. More crypto trades. And as you can see, like, these crypto trades are basically how I fund my account because they're very easy to make. This is a short position against Solana. I made 192 million on that trade, bringing my account balance to 344. Like, the numbers are so large, it just feels arbitrary at that point. And I just start playing around with larger amounts of margin, and you can start to see my account balloon over this period of time. Now, I actually have an image of what my account looks like because I plotted it. There it is. So that's around this point here, right? My account starts to balloon into the $100 million range, and you can see like the volatility and returns in my account over that period of time. Now, let's move on. So now this is the Raython, the military trade starting to play out. This is another $3 million on the other military stock I was talking about. And as you can see, I'm starting to close those positions I made over the short period of time because they're starting to play out. Most of my trades take a few days. They don't take they don't play out in over one day. And yeah, more crypto trades, as you can see. So OM USDT. This is what brings my account to the $1 billion mark. And the reason why I was short this particular currency is these guys are property developers in Dubai, right? And they're bringing out their properties out to the West. They're looking to expand into the United States. And at this time, I was short their cryptocurrency because it was up like, what, 40%? How is that even possible? So I thought to myself that, yeah, there's no way that it's going to remain at $1.12. And then, as you can see, the price tanked down to 0.85, and I made a profit of 411 million, bringing the account to $941 million. And then I make some more crypto trades that bring it up to exactly 1 billion. Now, that's around here, as you can see, right? And the account goes back down to like 900 million, but oh no, it doesn't actually. I apologize. I keep taking advantage of those crypto trades. 1.5 billion, 2 billion, 2.8 billion. I'm closing pretty, and this is where I started to understand that when you have large amounts of money, it's easier to make trades. And as you can see, I start to take larger positions on the exact same trades I was doing before. Right, I was long on volatility at $22 because the S&P 500 was not doing very well at the time, and I make another $1 billion, bringing my account balance up to $4 billion. I make another $500 million, bringing it up to 4.5, and then you keep going down. Right, there's a few losses, but at this point they don't really matter. right? It's just the gains. And as you can see, I make just consistent wins at this point. Consistent wins. Okay, now I lost $150 million, right? But it only brings the account balance down to 3.8 billion. So at this point, the losses are arbitrary and they don't really matter. So I just continuously make larger and larger bets. As you can see, it brings the account balance down, right? $300 million loss. But now I need to go find a more interesting trade. Now, starting this year, I've started to take trading more seriously. And that's why I'm making this video, is because I want to talk about how I do it and how I do it fundamentally using Python, how I mathematically analyze the income statements of these companies and make these trades. And I actually skipped over a couple trades there. There's this one from SMCI, right, Super Microchip. And the reason why I was short their cryptocurrency, actually their stock, was because Ernst & Young, one of the big four consulting firms, dropped them as a client last year. And that caused their stock price to tank down to $20 from 40, so basically 50%. And then I think it was about 7 days ago, there's news that came out that Super Microcomputer was involved in a fraud case somewhere in the east, and that caused their stock price to tank even further. So that's the importance of listening to the news in what you hear from the market months earlier before it happens now, right? If Ernst & Young, a big four consulting firm, drops a client, you should think, why would one of the big four consulting firms drop one of their biggest clients? Something fishy is going on, and that's why I was short their particular stock. Now, as you can see here, I actually skipped over a few trades that were pretty fundamental to the account. That's which one was that one? It should have brought the account balance up to 8 billion. Okay, there it is. That's the trade on SMCI on the NASDAQ, on the Ernst & Young situation. And the realized profit and loss on that trade was $4.9 million, which brought the balance to $8.3 billion. Now, I'm reaching about $10 billion status at this point. The numbers are just pretty large. I started thinking about making a video at this point, but there was no point because I didn't have an outlook on how I made these trades. Now, if you go down, more trades, the account balance, I made another 100 million on a short position against the S&P 500. That's recently after the new Donald Trump administration is in office. I've stated that his administration is going to cause more volatility than the previous one, and that's what I'm betting on. And as you can see, that the VIX index went from 15 to 23 in the last week, so volatility is up, and the S&P 500 is down. And my short position played out at $1.1 billion at that point. Now I keep going down over these trades: $300 million, 1.3 billion. Sorry, I lost another billion. I made 6 billion, bringing the account balance up to 19 billion. Now you can see 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, right? I just make consistent gains when it comes to those trades, which brings the account balance up to what you saw in the initial part of the video here at the $25.7 billion mark. Now, the future plans for the market, as you can see in my portfolio here, I haven't sold yet, right? I do plan on selling. Actually, I'll sell right now, right? I'll sell right now to show you that I actually make profit in these trades. So this trade right here is Link USDT, and I'm short the crypto market, as you can tell, right? Exchange tokens, as I've said, right? I'm long Palantir. I'm short this particular stock because they were up unrealistically high, so I'm just short take advantage of it. Maybe it plays out, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, I'm just gonna sell this crypto right here. I'm gonna close the position, and I'm just locked in a $280 million gain, bringing the account balance to $25,741,313. Well, 13. Well, that's not the exact number, but I think you understand the gist. Now, I'm bearish on the crypto market. When it comes to the S&P 500, I'm bearish as well. I'm just overall generally bearish on almost everything except commodities, right? And energy. I'm long on energy prices. I'm long on some oil. And it depends on the country, right? There's other assets in which I look at to realize it, but essentially, what I do is I go over this script here, right? The script I was talking about earlier. And this script basically takes companies and takes their institutional investors and plots a network. Shout out Algo Vibes on YouTube for this script. And I basically see who's investing in what, because if there's a correlation between the stocks and the investors, then there's a correlation between the gains and the losses. And by using a network like this, I can see, okay, well, I have to navigate very strangely. So SEMrush is if BlackRock and Morgan Stanley are tied closely with RTX and LMT, then their gains and losses are most likely tied together as well. And that's how I use this network to see which institutional investors are connected to which companies, so I can correlate gains and losses between them. But I wanted to go over how I did that and basically show how you can do it pretty easily, right? You do need mathematical incline to make it happen, but now, upon realizing that I can actually trade, I took to a realization that I should start trading with real money instead of paper trading. And as of yesterday, I opened a private fund to conduct similar strategies with real money. And I won't really document the gains and losses in that particular fund, but I wanted to make a video now to basically show that you can practice trading and then get into legitimate trading later on. Forgot to go over a second script in which I had that basically plots the performance of the portfolio. So let me just do that very quickly before I edit the video. So right? No. Alright, so this basically goes over the script and plots it and its performance. Now, honestly, some of these portfolio, like, I don't understand these ratios, but I put them in the script anyway. And, right, this is basically what the account looks like. My cumulative returns isn't calculated correctly, but almost everything else is. Total realized profit and loss is $25,460,155,622.32 over a year and a half span, over 683 trades. The max consecutive wins I've had is 10, and the max consecutive losses I've had is 21. The winning percentage is 24%. The biggest profit I've had is $6.1 billion, and the biggest loss is $1.9 billion. The average win, I win about $181 million on average by trade, and I lose about $8 million on each trade over these period of time, right? And that's basically the entire trading report summarized into one short analysis.